Welcome to Crypto Intuition. Well, this is my first episode in 2022. I hope you all had a merry holiday season. I'd like to remind you all that I am not a financial advisor. Anything I say should not be mistaken for financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. The United States is not the only country unkind to crypto investors. Thailand has joined the race to regulate crypto investors as they will be taxed 15%. Kazakhstan's rising fuel prices had resulted in political unrest, causing the presiding government to resign. It still is baffling why they removed price caps the days prior. Market conditions for sure, but did they really think it wasn't going to upset some citizens? When prices go up, it's not that big of a deal, but if it doubles, well, that's a different story. Or maybe they didn't predict it to rise that much in so little time. Keep in mind that Kazakhstan had attracted Bitcoin miners due to its low electricity costs, fueling its rise as the second busiest hub for Bitcoin miners, amounting to 18% of the overall Bitcoin network hash rate. But the fuel price crisis was not alone the instigator for Bitcoin's drop. It was the shutdown of the internet. After hours of the internet shutdown, bit hash rate on the network declined to over 13%. This was one of the factors for Bitcoin's drop of 2.5% within the last 24 hours. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Ethereum did even worse as it dropped nearly 7% within the last 24 hours. That's over a $225 drop as I am writing this episode. It's a rough time to be in crypto these days, but it isn't always going to be like that. There will be a light in the tunnel. Be very selective in your long-term positions. It's not always the machismo behavior that wins. Don't go and put random cash on any crypto. That's always a bad idea. But instead, select a few long-term positions. Imagine if you didn't panic in 2019 when Bitcoin prices went down from 10,000 to 6,635 in December of that year. At Bitcoin's highest point, it went up as high as 67,000. You either 6x or 10x your investment depending that price you bought it at. And if you were one of the earliest investors when Bitcoin was a measly $29 and you held on well, you would have had enough for yourself and your descendants for the next 50 to 100 years. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and try to assume that something like Bitcoin will rise ever again. If you had invested $100 in the beginning of Bitcoin, you would have had over $60 million today. That's just an estimate. Could be more or less, but you get the point. The problem is that many people still buy into the notion that there will be another crypto like Bitcoin. Sure, there was Dogecoin that went up to 75 cents at its higher points, but it didn't rise up to 67,000. There's also the supply factor. There can only be 21 million Bitcoins in existence. Once a unit is gone, it's gone. Dogecoin has a load of supply, and I doubt that it could go up more than $5 in the far future. This is assuming, of course, developers don't change the supply availability. Like many tokens and coins, its price is still dependent on the price of Bitcoin. No other crypto has such a huge influence on the crypto market as a whole than Bitcoin. It is still king. Yes, there was Solana and that rose astronomically, and Chainlink, but a far cry from the king. On a good note, GameStop, one of the favorite meme stocks among crypto investors, plans to enter the NFT market in an attempt to attract more cryptocurrency partnerships, crypto and its like markets. Crypto is gaining ground in some form or another. Factors out of control are forcing prices to spiral downward temporarily. I still think it is going to be a rough year for crypto in 2022. I hope I am wrong, but when investing, it is always better to be pessimistic than optimistic, because being pessimistic forces you to rethink and observe your investments even harder. While I believe in crypto's future, I do still keep the what if in mind. Let's have a great journey in 2022, and I hope to be there with all of you, my listeners, in your journey in this crazy world of crypto.